Forest Panther football on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network. And it starts right now.
Panthers football, Carolina Forest Panther football, and Panthers staying in as the 2 seed, the Eagles coming in as the 3 seed. This is your Tony McAfee State Farm pregame show. I am Brandon Biskobing. I will have all the action for you, and joining me as usual is Preston Payne. And Preston, before we talk about this matchup and the X's and O's, unfortunately we have to be the bearer of some bad news for Panther fans, as Scott Saylor will not be Luke Janik. Also, a game-time decision. He was warming up during pregame and looked like he should be good to go, especially with it being potentially his last game as a Panther. But a big blow for the Panthers, not having Scott out there, potentially, certainly not having 100% Luke Janik out on the field. And tonight, and not only Scott Saylor is injured, but also the JV quarterback who originally was going to come and step in for Scott is also injured. So we're going to have a quarterback. We're going full Bears from last year when all their quarterbacks went out due to COVID. We're having a wide receiver as the quarterback for the Panthers tonight in Nathan Schusler.
Right, and I think... First of all, I think it was the Broncos last year with COVID, and I think it was...
Oh, you're right. It was Broncos. You're
either
correct.
way, yeah, we're gonna have a big. It's not a quarterback controversy because it's one game.
Yeah.
But with how the offense is run and with Luke Janik not being 100% because he is the QB2 on the depth chart.
Yeah.
So if he is available to play, we were talking about this before we went on air. Is that going to be a thing? Is Luke Janik going to be taking quarterback duties, or is he going to be taking the ball in the halfback spot while Nathan Schusler, who is the QB, our emergency quarterback, if you will, if he will be taking the snaps? So
I think it'll be a situation where you're going to see a lot of gimmick plays, a lot of wildcat. Just the offense is going to try to do anything they can in order to, win this game and keep it competitive. Because the Panthers, and we talked about it last week when we were speculating on who we might play in the first round. But this is a matchup where Chapin's defense is not very good.
No.
They are allowing an average of 32.6 points per game. But on the flip side, their offense is absolutely dominant. They average 37.3 points per game, and they have a good bit of Division I talent on this offense in all positions. Their left tackle, Chase Swigart is ranked 28th in the state in his class, and has offers from Charlotte, East Carolina, Liberty, Old Dominion, Tulane, USF, Virginia Tech, and Western Kentucky. In their skills position, their running back Bennett Galloway, their running back Bennett Galloway, ranked 15th in the state, has committed to NC State. Wide receiver Xavier Short, ranked 16th in South Carolina, and has committed to App State. And even their quarterback, who's only a sophomore, already getting offers. He has offers from South Carolina, Penn State, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Georgia State, and NC State. And that's as a sophomore.
Those are some big names.
Yeah.
Especially for a sophomore, when you have the offensive capabilities that this offense for Chapin has. The possibilities are endless, and with this Carolina Forest defense, who hasn't played well, they've played better in the second half of the season, but they haven't played particularly well either, giving up 44 to Sockasty, and Now, it's not a lot of points, but 21 against St. James is a lot of points.
Especially against a team like St. James.
Right. And when your offense is putting up close to 38 points per game, you're bound to have your skill positions have a lot of offers. And maybe that's inflating it a little bit. Maybe that's kind of the situation here. But I will say you don't get offers from big-name colleges here. And we were talking about it before the game almost jokingly. What's the over-under on this game?
Like now,
75 and a
now
half.
knowing that Luke Janik is in the game, you'd have to put it at least at 70.
Right.
If not maybe 80, I'd say maybe.
And I jokingly said 100, but it wasn't even that much of a joke because the Socastee game, it was 46-44, which would put it at 90 points.
Yeah.
And if the defenses play worse than that game,
considering what we've heard from Chapin's broadcasters, their defense sounds like it's just as bad, if not worse, than Carolina Forest's defense. So, yeah, this is going to be Luke Janik's ankle holds up.
Right.
And 2, how well Nathan Schuessler can play at quarterback and what the offense looks like without Scott Saylor at the helm.
Right, and I was kind of thinking about this when I heard Scotty was out. This was also before we knew that Luke Janik could possibly play in some form or fashion. I was thinking, does this maybe help the way the offense runs because of the speed option, the read option, that type of thing with the QB? Scotty isn't that type of QB, but if you have the quickness and speed of a wide receiver at the quarterback position, does that help you maybe even a little bit?
Yeah, that's something, especially with assuming Luke Janik, even if he's at 80%, especially if Luke Janik is playing tonight, this could, at least for this game, maybe definitely not for the future though, but maybe for this game, it may be a bit of a blessing in disguise because Mark Morris can.
And another interesting point that the Chapin broadcast team brought up was that their weakness is against the run. They gave up 250 in one game, and there's only been 2 games this season that they hadn't given up 100 yards rushing. So that's our strength as a team, and that's their weakness. So that's something that we really need to exploit.
Yeah, so we'll take a quick break for the national anthem and come right back with some final thoughts and get you ready for the first round matchup between the Carolina Forest Panthers and the Chapin Eagles right here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony McAfee, right here in Carolina Forest, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony McAfee, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls is Myrtle Beach's first Acai restaurant. Costa Bowls is a fruit bowl restaurant that also serves pitaya bowls, makes smoothies, hot oatmeal bowls, and parfaits. Costa Bowls. Eat something fresh and healthy on the go. Costa Bowls always serves fresh and healthy food that is happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls. Always fresh.
There's a new chicken in town. Bo Supreme Tenders aren't just good, they're made from scratch good. Recurring dream good. Pull over and crush them in the parking lot good. Cause they're made with juicy chicken that's ex-vegetarian good. And a bold southern crunch that's good to the last crumb good. Did we mention house-made buttermilk ranch good? Bo Supreme Tenders. They're good good. It's Bo time.
Welcome back as we get set for first round playoff action here at Carolina Forest High School, Panther Stadium. Panthers against Chapin. And one thing that now obviously the injuries are going to be the big storyline in this game, and how the Panthers can play without their quarterback, with a less than 100% top running back. But let's talk about something good for the Panthers. They're coming into this game with some momentum because they finally managed to win 2 games in a row over these last couple of weeks heading into the playoffs, and beating St. James fairly handily, even without Luke Janik in the game for a half of that game.
Right. And I think, now we didn't really talk about it, but during the St. James game, they went on a 14-point scoring run. St. James did in the first 2 minutes of the game, and 2 minutes of the second half. And
we were both worried after that. We were thinking, oh God, here we go.
It was only 21-0 or 21-14 at that point, and it was a 1-possession game. And after that moment, they kind of settled down. They kind of collected themselves, and then they moved on. They ended up scoring 35 and winning the game 35-21. And the 21 was it was a garbage time touchdown. So it's kind of one of those things where the defense kind of has some momentum going into this week. Now, St. James is nowhere near the offense of Chapin.
Yeah.
But even that is a little bit of momentum that you could carry into this game. And with how well the offense played in the past 2 weeks, the Chapin's defense might be worse than Saugusti's or St. James.
Yeah, based on what we're hearing, it sounds like they may very well be.
And we were talking about that when we were talking about the matchups last week, was that it could be their defense is horrible.
Yeah.
And that it was something that we can take advantage of. Now, I didn't know the weakness of the defense was the defensive line and the run defense.
Yeah.
That's even more of an advantage to us.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of those things where you have to look for, if they have Nathan Schuessler in that QB and Luke Janik in the halfback spot, is the read option. Do they keep it with Nathan Schuessler to keep kind of the flow of the offense moving, or do they just keep handing it off to Luke Janik?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this offense and Luke Janik is out there as one of the captains, so he is dressed tonight as they have the coin toss in the middle of the field. But like I mentioned, it's going to be very interesting to see how this offense runs now without Luke Janik on the field, as we await the official results of the coin toss. Looks like no indication yet on who won the toss. I think Chapin won the coin toss.
Either way, Chapin elected to defer. No, Carolina Forest won the toss because Chapin said which way they wanted to defend. So Carolina Forest won the toss, and I
believe they're going to receive.
I believe they're going to receive because that's the precedent that Coach
Mark
Morris has set. So
this is a good opportunity to see, how the offense does with Nathan.
It'll be a shootout.
Well, it's going to go one of two ways. Either Carolina Forest's offense is going to be able to run successfully under Nathan Schuessler and struggle like they did in some of
knowing, and we talked about this the entire year, how Luke Janik has split snaps with Khalil Johnson. Is he even going to get less snaps on offense this week because he's coming off the ankle injury?
Well, that's a question that I was going to answer. Do you focus him more on offense?
I think because of the matchup you have and the mismatch you have with defensive Chapin, I think, and this is maybe the new school way of thinking because previously defense was championships. You got to stop them on defense. Maybe the new way of thinking is
offense.
And I think because now I'm thinking through the eyes of Mark Morris. If I was Coach Mark Morris, I would definitely be putting him on offense more. But Coach Mark Morris, we've learned, is a little bit more traditional in how he runs his offenses. So, and a little bit more conservative as well. So I think he's going to put Luke Janik on defense more because that's what we've seen all season anyway.
So Carolina Forest did win the toss. They will receive to start the game.
And one thing to note is Chapin, and they're just
going to punt they're just gonna kick it away. Now they've moved up, and now they'll put it on the tee and get ready to kick it off. It's very weird.
Very weird, and the strategy behind it is you never want to give them a way of
you
knowing.
want turn team on their toes as we are underway in this one. A high kick fielded at the 8-yard line, taken out to around. Oh no, still on his feet, but finally gets wrangled down at around the 24-yard.
That's Nathan.
And Nathan
Khalil.
Schuessler is in at quarterback with Khalil Johnson in the backfield. So right off the bat, it looks like they're going to try to, it looks like Luke Janik is going to basically be on a pitch count.
Right.
Shotgun set, one wide on either side.
I think that's kind of what we're going to see.
I think that's what we're going to see. That's what we've heard, is that this defense is not very good against the run game, and that is Carolina Forest's speciality. So, hey,
and Khalil Johnson is going to have a career day today if he continues
oh,
to
yeah.
run the ball
Shotgun
like
set, two wide on the near side. Schuessler. Waiting, takes the snap, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson gets crushed at the line of scrimmage. It will be a gain of 1, if anything. And it is a second. They'll actually just say he just got back to the line. So it'll be 2nd and 10, ball on the 50.
And that might be one of the few times we say he got no yards.
Yeah,
Right.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the far side.
Before we see a quarterback keeper on that read option, and Nathan Schuessler goes out.
Play?
Maybe on this play, but I think you set it up one more time.
Now, do you run any speed option? That's the question.
That's also the question.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the far side, 1 on the near side. Schuessler. Motion. They'll go with the jet sweep. Hands it off, and he will get crushed in the back right at the line of scrimmage. T-Mars McCollum gets the carry, and he did not get any yards. So it'll be 4th. Actually, it's how we expect the defense to have to contend with this very dynamic Chapin offense. You need to score on every possession to stay in this game.
Right.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side. They'll go spread. The snap. 3-step drop. Look, Schuessler throws it far side, and it gets... I don't know if it got tipped.
It was a bad.
Yeah, it was just a high throw. It was just an errant throw by Schuessler, and that'll be a turnover on downs for the Panthers. And that's something, we talked about, okay, with Schuessler in the game, you can run more of that read option, but that's the need part. So 1st and 10 now for Chapin, ball on their own 46. Shotgun set, 2 wide on the far side. Snap. A 1-step drop. He tries to throw it, but it throws it a little high, and it'll be incomplete.
And the one thing that we didn't really mention pregame, because it's kind of a scaredy cat move to mention this, but the weather could be affecting, because Charleston's south of us.
They're in
they're up
towards
north.
Columbia.
So they should be kind of used to this weather.
Yeah, you would think.
Carolina Forest, on the other hand, they haven't played a game under 60 degrees all season.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side. Hands it off, and getting stuffed after a gain of about 4 is Burns.
And he's committed to NC State, and that's kind of he got hit after a 2-yard gain, and dragged Carolina Forest defenders 3 more yards for a gain of 5.
Yeah, that was Bennett Galloway on the carry. Shotgun set, 2 wide on either side. Bunch formation as they will go with the speed option. Galloway gets the pitch. He'll get around the seam and get out towards the 40-yard line. It'll be enough for a 1st down. And a little more. And that just shows Bennett Galloway's speed right there. And that's something that the Panther defense is going to have to contend with.
Right,
and one thing to note, I do not see Luke Janik out on the field at all.
Which even hurts us more because of how good of a tackler he is.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on either side. First and 10, ball on the 39-yard line. Snap, hands it off to Galloway. Galloway gets a huge hole, and he could go. No one's going to stop him. Touchdown, Chapin.
And that is kind of what I think we're going to see tonight. And that's why it was so important to score on that first drive, because that's what's going to happen all night. And one thing we like to mention is that I would like to mention is that the broadcaster said they were more of a passing team. And but then they go 3 straight runs on that drive.
They're definitely a more balanced team than Carolina Forest is, because they definitely have Bennett Galloway, who is an NC State commit, as it's a low snap, but he's able to get some room and just gets stopped in front of the goal line. That almost was a disaster, because that was a low snap. I believe it was Bradford who was the holder, and he had to pick it up, run it himself, and he almost got in.
He was stopped at the one. There was Panthers that met him there. There's about 3.
But it is 6-0. We'll take a quick break and come right back with more Carolina Forest Panther football action. 7:45 left to go in the first quarter here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony McAfee, right here in Carolina Forest, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony McAfee, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
6-0 Eagles with 7:46 left to go in the first quarter. And this is going to be a big drive, because now that botched extra point, if the Panther offense can get something going, that may be a turning point.
Right, and that would give them a 1-point lead if they can score.
It's a high kickoff fielded at the 10-yard line and bobbled for a second, but is able to break out. And
I know it's really early in this game, but with what we just saw from the Chapin offense, 4 plays and then a touchdown.
Yeah, 4 plays, a 40-yard touchdown run.
I don't know that's going to.
Yeah. Shotgun set, 1 wide on either side, H-back on the far side. Schuessler in at quarterback.
Waiting on ref in the middle of the line right now. I don't know what they're waiting on.
Khalil Johnson still out there again. And, the ref is waiting on something.
And one of the things that I mentioned before, during our break, was you got to put Luke Janik in at some point.
Yeah.
And whether he's ready to go or not, you're not going to let him dress, let him get his hopes up of playing, and then not let him play at all.
The referee was over on the sideline, over on the Carolina Forest side, and that's why we were delayed. Now he's behind the offense, and we are ready to go. They'll hand it off to Johnson. Johnson gets a hole and will gain about 5 yards on the first down carry.
A huge drive, and I say run Nathan Schuessler on a QB
or on a read option. I would have to agree with that. Shotgun set, 1 wide on either side. H-back moving from far side to near side. They'll hand it off. We'll get the first down and more. Gets taken down at the 41-yard line.
And just Khalil's running the ball pretty well, and he got stopped. They kind of stalled out at midfield last drive, but before that he had a 15-yard run on first down. Now
they'll hand it off, and John was able to make a positive gain out of that run.
And you got to wonder, does Coach Mark Morris not trust Nathan Schuessler enough to run the read option?
That's probably the case. Now you have 2. He gets back to the line, getting taken off the field. Is Bryson Johnson? I believe that was Bryson Johnson.
You can't stall out here if you're Carolina Forest offense. You got to score here.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the far side. Motion. Now 2 on the near side. Speed option.
Yards than Scotty would have. Or Scotty would have had to make a quick pitch and maybe result in a turnover. That's the difference between Scotty and Nathan.
4th and 2. Shotgun and whistles are blown. And a false start on the Panthers. And in a game like this where you have to keep up with a high-octane offense, you can't make those types of mistakes.
Especially pre-snap. Like,
Yeah.
You got to be just – and timeout Chapin. Yeah,
Okay.
timeout Chapin. So,
Timeout Chapin. So that's interesting that they take a timeout this early in the game.
Well, it's
but
also interesting that they put Luke Janik in just to
Just
punt
to
on
punt,
4th and
yeah.
7. We haven't seen them punt on 4th and 7 in however many years.
Yeah.
That's really trying Luke Janik to not get hurt. Get hurt more than he is.
Yeah.
But why let him even punt when?
Especially, it would be one thing if this were a game in, say, the middle of the season and you wanted him to rest up so that he was ready to go later on in the season.
Right.
This is the playoffs. This could very well be his last game as a high school athlete. You want to be healthy for that potential. But let him play.
Yeah.
As they do come out in the punting formation, Janik punts it away, and it will be fielded, taken through the hole, and we were warned about this, taken down around they'll mark him down at the 41-yard, oh no, actually even further than that. They're going to mark him down at the 38-yard line, but that was a big return by Zach Ecker.
There's a penalty on the. There was a block in the back on the play.
Oh, okay.
So they're moving him back way back. They got him down at the.
So this could be an opportunity for the Panthers. This is a big drive. I mean, I know we say this all the time, but this right here, especially with the offense stalling a little bit right now without Scott out there, the defense really needs to come up big.
They really do, and this you got to pin back. And the Chapin broadcasters told us if you can keep the quarterback in the pocket, which is something we've struggled to do, it's a lot easier to contain him.
Empty backfield. Now they move the wide receiver up, and they'll hand it off. Breaking through the hole and getting close to the first down marker is Bennett Galloway.
And
they're going to mark him beyond the first down marker, so it'll be a first down for Galloway on an 11-yard run.
And this is not looking good.
No.
This is. We knew they were really good on offense, and I mean, I expected a shootout, but for Carolina Forest offense to not be doing much.
Well, but you also have to take into consideration you don't have your two star players out there.
I understand that, but with how bad their run defense is, you would think even Khalil Johnson would be able to get
an
through.
Interesting formation. Two running backs set up to the right of the quarterback. They hand it off to Galloway. That will be.
The result is the exact same thing we've seen in the entire game. And it's just over and over and over again. Big play after big play.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side. Calling out a play and taking the snap. They'll go with the screen pass. It's completed and breaking through the hole, trying to go down the far side sideline and getting pushed out of bounds around the 27-yard line is Malcolm Johnson.
And I hate to say that I hate to be the Debbie Downer of the group here, but defense doesn't look like they're going to get any better in this game so far.
This game, I mean, we mentioned it during the pregame show. Either this was going to be a shootout with both offenses firing on all cylinders as it's 1st and 10, empty backfield. Now they move Galloway into the backfield. They will hand it off to Galloway. He gets a hole. He tries to break it up the middle of the field, but he will get taken down after a gain of around 6.
And just without Luke Janik.
Oh, no, actually, they'll give him a lot more. That'll be a gain of 9, so it'll be 2nd and 1.
And there's somebody down for Carolina Forest.
And that's even more bad news for Panther fans. But like we mentioned, we basically said it in the pregame. This is going to go in one of two ways. Either A, the offense is going to be able to play well, and thus you're going to be able to it's going to be a shootout.
Right.
Or the offense is going to stall, and this is going to be a blowout.
And right now we're seeing stall and blowout.
Yep. And I mean, granted, it's only 6-0, 2:49 left to go in the first quarter. But I think that is more so to do with the fact that both teams have been running the ball more and thus running the clock more.
Right, and you're seeing the effects of Luke Janik not being out there on both sides of the ball. Luke Janik was the leading tackler of this Carolina Forest defense.
Yeah.
Luke Janik was the leading rusher on the Carolina Forest offense. You're even seeing the effects of Scotty on the fourth down on the first drive, not being able to complete the pass.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a good sign for this Carolina Forest team that you're not getting anything going. I can't. Oh, Titus Davis, I believe.
Titus Davis is the one who's being helped off the field,
and
that's not looking good. So that's another bad sign for the defense, because Titus Davis has been playing at least decently well over the last couple of weeks.
And without probably your two best players on defense, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
You hate for it to end like this almost because of how many injuries. You don't know how well you could have played.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those what ifs. As shotgun set 3 wide on the far side, they throw the screen pass out and heading into the end zone. Oh, no, they will say he just got pushed out of bounds. That is Xavier Short who caught the screen pass and gets pushed out of bounds at the 1 yard line. That'll be another first down for Chapin, so it'll be 1st and goal at the 1. And
I have a feeling that's only delaying the inevitable.
Yes. Oh, it clearly is.
And it's I hate for it to be that person, that Debbie Downer, and because it's still in the first quarter, but still it's just not looking really good for Carolina Forest.
Shotgun set. 2 wide on the near side and the H-back on the near side as well. And they'll just hand it off to Bennett Galloway, and he
didn't get touched.
Steps his way in to the end zone.
There was nobody who even touched him on the way to the end zone.
There was one defender that kind of clipped him as he was coming in.
Let me rephrase. There was nobody in position to make a tackle on that play.
No, not at all.
And even if there was, I don't know that anybody on the Carolina Forest defense would be tackling him right at the 1.
No.
It's just not a good start for Carolina Forest at all.
No. As the extra point is up and good. So that'll extend the lead out to 13-0. 2.5 remaining in the first quarter. 13-0. Panthers trail Chapin as we head to a break, and we'll return after this here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
Happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls is Myrtle Beach's first Acai restaurant. Costa Bowls is a fruit bowl restaurant that also serves pitaya bowls, makes smoothies, hot oatmeal bowls, and parfaits. Costa Bowls. Eat something fresh and healthy on the go. Costa Bowls always serves fresh and healthy food that is happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls. Always fresh.
Welcome back as the Panthers get the ball back, try to get something going on offense. This has been all Chapin thus far. 13-0. Looking at the scoreboard, if you just looked at the scoreboard, you'd say, okay, Chapin's playing fairly well, but it's still within reach. But if you really watch this game, this has just been utter domination.
Yeah, and that's because the offense for Carolina Forest they've gotten past the 50, but not past the 45.
Yeah.
They've stalled out every single time. Well, every single time. The 2 times they touched the ball, they've stalled out at the 50 or at the 45. Yeah. And it's just and I've said this again time and time again. You see the effects of Luke Janik and Scotty Saylor not being there, and I'm not saying that this game would be completely different if they were there, but I'm saying that it would make a huge difference if they were.
Oh yeah. Especially Luke Janik.
Right.
But even Scott, too, on that 1 4th down play when Schuessler tried to throw it, if that was Scott in the playoffs, you kind of have to.
Right. And the refs are I don't know what they're conferring about. Yeah. They're just making this a longer experience.
Extending, yeah.
But and I'm saying let's say Chapin had lost their running back and their wide receiver, or even their quarterback.
Exactly.
Let's
even
say
their
the quarterback and the running back, like we do. If they lose their 2 best players,
this would be a completely different game. Exactly.
It's just unfortunate because all we can do is have the excuse of Luke Janik and Scotty Saylor not being here. But it's a pretty
you
take Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams off the Green Bay Packers, they're no better than.
Well, this is what a lot of people were worried about and complaining about with COVID when it first started was, you have that potential of, oh, if one of your top players gets it, suddenly they're out and you're down a big cog in a key game. And, that's what's happening. Obviously this is, a regular, football-related injury. But, that's something that, I personally, let me just say this. I'd much rather it be because of a football-related injury than because of COVID.
Right.
But still, it's not something you like to see by any stretch of the imagination. As now the discussion between the refs, their little conference is over, and now we are underway once again. High kick, fielded, and bobbled at the 11-yard line, but is able to recover and taken down at around the 24-yard line. So that's where the Panthers will take over on offense.
And I think the refs were just conversing where they were going to go after the game to go eat.
A little early to be talking about that.
Yeah, but I mean,
then again, if this continues the way it has been, we may be getting a running clock. So.
Right. And I think that's most likely what the discussion was how early and what score does the score have to be for a running clock. And that's kind of sad to be talking about in the first quarter.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the near side. Snap, and Schuessler actually goes back. He throws a bomb down the far side, and it's incomplete. Almost. It looked like a good pass.
It was a good pass, and it almost looked like defensive pass. It looked like T. Martin McCollum was being grabbed on the way to the ball. He was only able to go out with one arm. So that tells me either he was being lazy or he was being grabbed.
Yeah, which I'm surprised there's no penalty. But, hey, Nathan Schuessler showing off his arm. Hey, maybe you do see him throw it a little bit.
Or maybe you see the defense play back a little bit because he's shown that ability.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on either side. Motion. Snap. They'll hand it off. Johnson gets a big hole. He could go. He's got one man to beat. 20. 10. And he gets pushed out of bounds at around the 8-yard line. And that is the offensive jolt that this Panther offense needed.
And that was a big run from Khalil Johnson. And that's why going into this game, I didn't feel too worried about the running back specifically. Now, if Luke Janik was there, he might have scored a touchdown there. But that's neither here nor there. Khalil Johnson is able to break those big plays, and that's why I wasn't as worried as some were about Luke Janik not being out.
First and goal, ball on the 9-yard line. Shotgun set, 1 wide on either side. They'll hand it off to Johnson again. Oh, no.
Oh, did he fumble the...
Yeah, I think he fumbled it, and it looks like Chapin has recovered the fumble. And after a huge gain like that, to make that sort of mistake...
And
is absolutely crushing.
Nathan Schuessler kept that ball.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, did Coach Mark Morris trust Nathan Schuessler on that read option?
Well, maybe that answers our question.
Right.
Maybe that's why he wasn't, allowing him to keep it.
And that's just not good. That's just not good. Yeah. Either way.
Chapin comes back on offense. They'll run a read option, keeping it himself and getting tackled after a gain of about 1 is Jaden Bradford.
And
on either side.
And we're still a minute and a half to go in the first quarter, and it's 13-0.
Bradford throws it far side on a screen pass. Caught going down the sideline and has one man to beat, gets pushed out of bounds around the 39-yard line. Malcolm Johnson with that reception on the screen pass, and that'll be another Chapin first down.
And I wasn't going to say 13-0 with Chapin driving just quite yet because they were still 2nd and 8 from their own.
But now you can say it.
And now I can say that they're now driving with the 13-0 score. And I'm at a loss for words because just the defense has not played well at all.
Empty backfield, 3 wide on the near side. Another screen pass out to Johnson, and he will get taken down at around the 50, and that'll be another first down.
There's an illegal motion on Chapin there. So, lucky break for now. And I'm at a loss for words because what do you even say about this performance that before it gets ugly?
Yeah.
Before you just can't say anything else other than just you just got to sigh, and you can't say anything else because what else do you say without using very not nice words?
Yes.
Like and I get we kind of understood this going into this game that it was going to be a shootout, but it's because the offense hasn't done much outside of the Khalil Johnson run that into a fumble.
And obviously, like we said, the fact that they are injured does not help matters by any stretch of the imagination. So it will be 1st and 15. 3-step drop, throwing it far side and incomplete. And trying to get Cooper Wessinger into the action.
And that's just, that's one of 2 incompletions that he's had. That's his second incompletion on the day. But they haven't needed him to do a whole bunch because the run game has been so good.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the near side. Now moving from near side to far side, 2 wide on either side. 1 now. 3-step drop, getting some pressure, and getting hit, and a low throw. Almost was able to get it to Galloway though in the flat, and he was lucky that Galloway was so short because otherwise that could have been an intentional grounding.
Right, and Carolina Forest got really good pressure there, and if they are even
if they can start doing that, they
backward pass.
I don't think no. They're going to say it was a forward pass.
And that was pretty dang close to
it. It looked like it was going slight. It was
slight.
It was probably going forward by like a yard or 2.
Either way, great stop by the defense. That's something that you can't say every
they got a 3 and out, and the punting team is out to punt it away with 29 points. If the defense can continue to play like this, and the offense can get something going, who knows? It's still only a 2-possession game.
And right now, while it's still close, put Luke Janik in just for one play. Let him run through the defense and call it a day.
And whistles are blown. This may be a false start on Chapin, and it is.
And like I was saying, it's hurting me. And I'm just an innocent bystander who's watching this game and it's hurting me as someone who's watched Luke Janik all season. It's hurting me that he's not in this game right now because it could potentially be his last game, and it is for sure his last game at home.
Yeah.
And that's never something you want, is to not play your last game.
High snap, the punt is away. And a very short punt, and the Panthers will take over at the 45-yard line.
That got down to the 50. It looked
wow. Okay.
It came back and then went back.
Set 2 wide on either side. Motion. They'll hand it off to Johnson, and he gets stuffed at the line after a gain of about 1. So it'll be 2nd and 9. Ball on the 49-yard line of Chapin, and that will end the first quarter. So after 1, 13-0 Eagles, and if the Panthers can get something going, they've got some momentum going into the second quarter. So we'll have to wait and see what they do, as we'll take a break and come right back with second quarter action right here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
There's a new breakfast in town. Our new Bo's Chicken Biscuit isn't just good. With a scratch-made, fluffy buttermilk biscuit and bold, crunchy, hand-breaded fried chicken, it's convert to a morning person good. Just found your new go-to good. Capital G-O-O-D good. Because our breakfast is the kind of breakfast that eats other breakfasts for breakfast good. Bo's Chicken Biscuit. It's good. It's Bo time.
Second quarter ready to get underway as the Panthers are on offense, have it in Chapin territory, and just really need to get something going offensively if they want to get back into this game. Only down by
Carolina Forest, it just felt like dumb and more dominating than it was. And it's because we've been against Coach Mark Morris's play calling.
Yeah.
His personnel play calling.
Yeah.
Luke Janik not being in, even though he's at 80% or so.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the near side. Khalil Johnson gets a handoff, and he gets crushed in the backfield. And they will say he lost 2. So it'll be 3rd and 11 now for Carolina Forest. And this is another problem we've been talking about the play calling with this Carolina Forest offense right now is so one-dimensional that even they're just we've talked about it in other games. They're lining up 8 in the box and just dominating at the line. Shotgun set, 2 wide at the far side. High snap, speed option. Schuessler will keep it himself, and he will get crushed after a gain of maybe 2. They will give him 2, so it'll be 4th and 9 now.
And Luke Jenks going out, so they're going to probably punt this.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Carolina Forest punt this much in
a
long time.
I mean, in the last 2 years, I don't think I've seen them punt it this much.
Right. And he's going to go back into punt formation. And to your credit, you did say they were stacking the box, and they had 7 guys in the box.
Yeah. The punt is away. It'll be a high punt, good coughing corner kick, and they'll down it at the 8-yard line.
He should have let that one go. That was if he gets in front of that ball, which Jackson McCoy has the speed to do. That's down at the 1.
Yeah. But it will be at the 8-yard line, so that's where Chapin will start with the ball on offense.
And maybe that's why they had Janik suit up is for punting duties. But it's one of those...
I mean, you are probably right, but why tease us like that?
Why tease him like that? Why let him suit up if you're just going to make him punt?
So they'll go empty backfield. Now they'll move a running back into the backfield. 2 wide on the near side. They'll hand it off. Breaking through, but getting taken down after a gain of a couple is Galloway.
And just... You can't rely on the defense to get stops because, from what we've seen so far already,
they did get a stop in the last possession.
Right, but
Let's
you
give
can't
them some
you
credit
can't rely on them to get stopped every single time and then wait for the offense to do something.
Yes.
You have to score, and you're just not doing that right now.
2nd and 6. They'll hand it off once again. Galloway gets tripped up, but still is able to fall forward for a gain of about 4. And they'll give him 5, so it'll be 3rd and 1 now for Chapin, and that's just an unlucky break. But that's something that we've seen the Panthers do a lot. They don't try to wrap up. They just kind of try to trip the running back or receiver, and most of the time it doesn't work. Luckily for the Panthers, it did right there. Motion from near side to far side, 3 wide on the far side in trips. Snap, speed option, Galloway gets the pitch. He's got an opening, and he is gone. No one in front of him. His speed will carry him the rest of the way. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Chapin. And like you mentioned, that's what Chapin's going to do.
And I'm not saying Luke Jenks is going to make that much of a difference on defense because that's just good blocking. Yeah. If we're being honest, he wasn't touched that entire way down, and he just found a hole.
Good blocking and just the pure speed and athleticism of Bennett Galloway. I mean, there's a reason why he's committed to NC State.
Right.
The extra point is up
and
good. So that'll extend lead out to 20-0 with 9:17 left to go in the second quarter. We'll take a quick break, come right back with more Carolina Forest Panther football action right here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony McAfee, right here in Carolina Forest, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony McAfee, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Panthers trying to get anything going on offense now. Once again, getting the ball back.
And for me, I'm going to stop complaining about Luke Jenks not getting in. Because at this point, you're down 20.
At this point, does it really,
Does it really matter at this point? And I hate same here.
Like,
I would love to be optimistic about this team.
Game that maybe even Mark Morris knew it was very unlikely they were going to win, as the kick is booted all the way through the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. That was a big boot by the kicker, Mason Suber.
And that,
Yeah, apparently. I forget if he said Bennett Galloway or I think it's Xavier Short that returns their kicks. And, yeah, he is definitely explosive. 1st and 10, ball on the 20-yard line. 3-1 break for the Panthers, but still, it'll be a 3-yard loss for the Panthers, and that's just more. It's bad, more bad after bad.
And that's kind of serendipitous, I guess, of the night so far. It's just not been. It's just that sums up the night. It's fumble, and then you kind of recover, and then you probably give up a big play.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the near side, H-back on the far side. Johnson moved from near side to far side. Now they move the tight ends to the near side. High snap, it goes over the head of Schuessler. He'll have to recover it in the end zone. He throws it away, and I could imagine that being an intentional grounding and a safety. No flag.
There's a flag in the back of the end zone.
Okay, there is a flag in the back of the end zone, and this has to be, it's going to be intentional grounding and a safety, and it is now 22-0.
Just, oh, Lord of mercy. And I said it's kind of recover and then give a big play, and that was a big play.
Yeah.
Just what else do you say? Like, even as a person who's been doing broadcasting for as long as you have, what do you even say at this point? Because without getting your job taken away because of what you say.
Luckily for me, there have been some bad teams that I've called, but not many.
Right.
So luckily I haven't had the
experience.
What would be the reverse of privilege?
The suffering?
Yes, the suffering of having to call a, winless team or anything like that. So, but yeah, it's just
this is just bad.
It's just one of those games, where you don't know what to say.
Right, and maybe this game isn't close. Maybe it isn't whatever with Luke Janik and Scotty.
Now, something that I don't know the official rule, because again, there have been a couple of situations where the Panthers have had it high enough where this has happened, but I never bothered to check, or if it is just referee's discretion of when does the what's the point differential for the running clock?
I believe it's 25.
Okay.
I believe.
So just a field goal as a short pooch kick for the Panthers will be fielded by Chapin, and they will take over at the 45-yard line.
I'm just trying to think if they had a running clock against New Hanover or not, and I believe they did.
I believe they did, too. I know they had a couple of running clocks last year.
Right.
Like against South Florence in the first game of the season. But I don't know if there was any specific point differential that triggered it. Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side, 2 wide on the near side. Empty backfield. 3-step drop, looking far side. High throw, caught by Short. Short breaks a tackle and gets pulled down at around the 26-yard line. But they've been passing it very effectively as well. This offense is firing on all cylinders tonight.
Right. And there's just nothing you can do. I'm just at a loss for words. Usually I'm pretty good at kind of combobulating some words together and formulating something to say, but at this point
you just don't know what else to say.
What else to say that I haven't said already.
I do have a talking point for you outside of this game for halftime though.
All right.
We'll do a little sports talk thing at halftime. Empty backfield, 4 wide on the far side. It'll be a screen pass out to Short.
And I was going to say before the play started, I just kind of subsided, but what can I say? No tackling. Yep. Defense is playing horrible. Offense isn't showing up, and there's an offside on Carolina Forest.
What was what was he even doing? He jumped before.
Like, they were even really set.
Yeah, they weren't even set, and he just jumps.
Like,
and that'll give Chapin a first down.
And what else can you? The offense has been really inconsistent this year. Defense hasn't really showed up ever.
Yeah, well, except for
Besides
maybe the New Hanover game and the St. James game. But even then, they gave up a few points, and they'll hand it off. Oh no, Bradford will keep it himself, and he'll take it in for the touchdown. No one saw that coming, and he just walked it into the end zone.
It just. And it's kind of the same thing we saw in the Sumter game. Just read option another mobile quarterback like Sumter. Now, obviously not the passer.
Yeah.
Like, Sumter's not the same passing offense that Chapin is. But same sort of situation in the running QBs. And it's just not good for this Carolina Force defense.
Yeah. So that'll make it 28-0. With 7 minutes left to go, the extra point is up and good. So it's now 29-0. And like I mentioned, you have to wonder when that running clock starts getting activated. 7 minutes left to go in the second quarter. We'll take a quick break and come right back with more Carolina Forest Panther football action.
Happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls is Myrtle Beach's first Acai restaurant. Costa Bowls is a fruit bowl restaurant that also serves pitaya bowls, makes smoothies, hot oatmeal bowls, and parfaits. Costa Bowls. Eat something fresh and healthy on the go. Costa Bowls always serves fresh and healthy food that is happiness in a bowl. Costa Bowls. Always fresh.
Well, welcome back as we get set for the Panthers to get the ball back once again.
And I just had not really a conference, but a convergence with the local point people here. According to his words specifically, it's when the two coaches come together and say, run the clock.
Oh, okay. So there is no official point differential. As a very high kick is bobbled at the goal line, they will take it out and gets taken down at around the 15-yard line.
And he did have a good move there. T-Mars McCollum did. And he was able to bring it out to around the he's at the 15.
That was actually Trey Dixon who brought that one out.
We haven't said his name.
We haven't said his name.
It's a hot
minute.
Either way, he did make a move. He was able to get a couple more yards than what I thought he was going to.
Especially after he bobbled it in the end zone,
or
on the 1 yard line.
Right.
Shotgun set. As another high snap, it will go into the end zone, and the Panthers, and it's recovered by Chapin, and that is a touchdown. What has happened to Cooper Dale? 3 straight snaps have flown over the head of Nathan Schuessler.
And maybe it's the size difference. Nathan Schuessler is only around 5'9". I don't know what he's listed on your roster.
I don't have a height on him. Scott Saylor is listed as 6'1".
Right. Nathan Schuessler is a lot, not a lot, but he's
much shorter. A few inches shorter.
And that's maybe playing a role when you're throwing it to 6'1" instead of 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
As whistles are blown, this may be a false start on Chapin.
And this is just not what you want. And especially for the last game of these seniors' careers.
Yeah, this is not how you want to end your high school football career on a blowout.
No. Especially, like, people who won't play college.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's basically everyone except for Luke Janik.
Maybe Luke Janik and
Wesley Fletcher will go to college for basketball, but not football.
Yeah.
And that's just not something that you want to go out on.
I guess there wasn't a penalty because they're still lined up at the spot, and now the extra point will be up and good. So now it's 36-0. And since, who knows, we'll see what happens, but we may be getting a running clock fairly soon, and thus halftime coming up soon. I'll give you my my question for halftime that you can think about. And you've probably seen it already. What are your thoughts on the initial college football playoff ranking?
Oh, we're going to have a chat about that.
Oh, yes, we are.
I'll give you a little preview. Alabama should not be 2.
Oh no, absolutely not. We'll talk about that more at halftime. But yeah, get ready for some fun.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous to me. And I have a lot of problems 1 through 10 with the power rankings or with the rankings outside of 1 with Georgia.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Georgia is the number 2
that
in the
one's
country.
fine. That's the only one that I'm fine with.
Right.
But we'll talk about that more. I bother.
Right.
As they will kick it off. And high booming kick fielded at the 1-yard line. Taken out and taken down at around the 20-yard line.
So the past 2 snaps have been over the head and resulted in a safety and a touchdown for Chapin. So
I know this is not in Mark Morris's playbook at all, but
do you go under center?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm at the point where it's like, whatever. At this point, like, what does it really matter? Maybe you probably do just because, and they're not going to.
They're not going to, but it just popped into my head.
Right.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on the near side, H-back on the far side. Motion. Now they move both of the tight ends on the near side. They hand it off to Johnson. Johnson gets a hole, and he will gain about 6.
And it's like, yes, and I can only help but wonder, like, I can only wonder what this offense would be like if Scotty and Luke Janik were in the game. Because
it would be much, much better. Let's just put it that way.
Maybe the snapping issues aren't as bad if Scotty's in, and maybe...
Yeah. Well, because like you mentioned, it might be that height difference.
And even if Luke Janik's in, he's pretty close to 6'1" for Scotty.
They go empty back.
A yard short.
They'll give him 3, actually. They'll be 3rd in inches for the Panthers.
And this is just gadget plays because you can't run
They're just trying to do anything.
They're trying to do anything, and you can't run the ball up the middle every single time down the field.
Well, because, like Chapin's defense has been doing, you stack the box. They're going to go fake jet sweep. Schuessler keeps it himself. He'll get the first down and more. And, hey, maybe that's what you need to do. I mean, at this point...
I know he probably hasn't ever taken a snap a day in his life.
Yeah.
But maybe you go direct snap to Khalil Johnson, let him run that play, and maybe he gets a few more yards out of it.
They'll go with Khalil Johnson in the backfield. 1 wide on the near side, H-back on the near side. They'll hand it off to Johnson. Johnson will get stuffed after a gain of maybe 1.
And that's just another run up the middle. And you can't... I don't know. You definitely have to run the ball because obviously we've seen Nathan cannot pass the ball. He's got the arm, he just doesn't have the accuracy for it. So you have to run. It's just running up the middle probably isn't the best idea because of how much they're stacking the box.
Yeah. Shotgun set, 2 wide on either side.
And Coach Mark Morris is trying to spread out the field a little bit with going with 4 wide receivers on a running play, I'm assuming.
Motion, Alan Youngblood going far side to near side. The pass, and a pass out to
Jackson McCoy.
Jackson McCoy. He'll make the catch and get taken down at around the 45-yard line.
So they weren't trying to spread it out for a run. They were throwing a ball.
A screen pass.
And Jackson, this wide receiver core is pretty deep. I'll give it. This is the one kind of strong suit of this team.
But like we've talked about, the strong suit, especially going into next year, is the wide receiver core and Scott Saylor. You need to be able to pass the ball.
Right.
Shotgun set, 2 wide on either side. They'll hand it off to Johnson, and Johnson gets tripped up right at the line of scrimmage. All he did was get back to the line, and he just got luckily tripped, or unfortunately for him, tripped up by Max Drag, the defensive tackle.
And this is going to be bringing up 4th and 3.
Yeah, they're going to go for it looks like, which makes sense. Although we've seen them punt it much more than they have in games past, in years past. 3 minutes left to go in the first half.
And you got to think run here, but pass maybe because of they're trying to get him into some passing situations.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side. They do go pass. It's a high throw. Tried to go to Owen Hall, but again, just the accuracy of Nathan Schuessler coming into play right there.
And That was a catchable ball. It wasn't on him. It wasn't on his numbers, but Owen Hall had 2 hands on that pass.
It was pretty high. That was a tough. That was a you got Moss type play right there.
And
shotgun set, rolling out, looking, and now stepping up, scrambling out himself, and getting taken down after a gain of about 5 is Jaden Bradford.
And what do you even say now? Because they've done the exact same thing over and over and over again. Outside of the screen pass to Short.
Yeah.
And the screen pass to Galloway.
And Johnson.
So outside of those things, they've run the exact same play almost every time.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the near side. Bradford takes the snap, hands it off to Johnson, and he will get through. Galloway. And he will get through, get all the way down to around the 25-yard line. That's where they'll mark him down, and that'll be a first down for Chapin. And with 2 minutes left to go in the half, I mean, they're probably not necessarily trying to score, but, they're probably going to score another one
anyway
at this point. And he loses 1, so it'll be 2nd and 11.
And he didn't even really get brought down. It was
they just blew the play dead.
Right. And that's kind of one of those things where in college that they might be a little bit more lenient on the play being stopped.
I think it's also based on how the game's going.
Right. So if this game isn't a blowout, they keep that play going.
Yeah.
And that's a touchdown for Chapin
Probably.
Anyway.
Shotgun set, 3 wide on the far side. They'll pass it again, tried to go up the middle. And I don't even know where there was anyone really in the area for that throw.
They had a tight end in the middle of the field. He was he kind of sat on a hitch route. But it was I believe it was deflected by one of the defensive linemen. I couldn't tell who got their hand up. Either way, that was a good defensive play, something that we haven't been able to say at all this game.
So that'll set up 3rd and 11.
And
heading into the end zone, its defense has been all year.
Right.
Has been they'll get one good play or one good drive, and you're saying, okay, maybe they're getting their act together, but as the extra point is up and good, and now it is 43-0 in the half, and this
is over. I mean,
this game's over.
It's over, and the fans they're not leaving yet, which is kind of surprising to me.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. There are some people that it appears as though they may be starting to head toward the exit. We'll have to see if people.
What I wouldn't stay if I was just a regular spectator. Now I kind of have to stay because I'm obligated to. But still, it's just been so bad. And
you know what's bad too? You know what's really bad?
This is the biggest margin of loss, probably. I think
Hold
right
on.
now it is. -70.
Not quite.
-70. Never mind.
They have a way to go still.
But on this pace, they're going to get 100 dropped on them.
But they're already almost into the top 5.
Right.
In biggest losses. As a big one bobbled in the end zone, but they're going to call it a touchback.
And and it kind of seems like this team
scored in a game.
Right, with 70. Now in the last game of the season, presumably,
it looks like you may at least get in the top 5 of biggest losses.
Right. And that's kind of how this team has been this season. And that's a very apt description of how this team has been this season.
Shotgun set.
I just don't know. You hate to see it go out like this because
really.
we followed this team the entire season and you're down so far down, and I don't even know how far that would be.
Shotgun set, 2 running backs in the backfield. They'll hand it off to Johnson. He'll get a gain of a couple, and that will head us into halftime. At the half, it is 43-0, Chapin in the lead, and you have to wonder maybe at the half. I mean, I know Mark Morris is a very proud coach, but well, I mean, like I said, to be fair to them, the fact that you lose the half, so keep it locked right here on the Carolina Forest Panther Football Network.
Switching is easy. We switch TV channels. Carolina Forest can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony McAfee, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call when you want the real deal.
There's a new breakfast in town. Our new Bo's Chicken Biscuit isn't just good. With a scratch-made, fluffy
show, and yeah, not really much else to talk about this game. So yeah, let's talk a little college football, and let me get your thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts after I get your thoughts on the first college football, what I refer to as, and I will explain exactly why after you tell me your thoughts. The first ranking of the college.
We'll go 1 through 10 from the top down. 1, Georgia. I think that's self-explanatory.
That's fine.
Prince's all time. There's just nothing else you can really say about that team. That team is undoubtedly the number 1 team right now.
Yeah.
Number 2, Alabama.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. College football playoffs, which it really is just an invitational for the haves.
Right, and what I was going to say with Alabama is that they're setting the precedent that the College Football Playoff Committee is setting a precedent that to Texas A&M, who's ranked 14th. Now, Texas A&M, should they be ranked 14th? No,
absolutely not. The only reason why they're ranked 14th is in order to give Alabama the
top 25 loss.
The prestige of that loss.
Right.
Because they were not ranked when they beat Alabama.
And so then, number 3, Michigan State.
That one I'm fine with. And that one I'm actually surprised about because they're not a traditional power. So it is kind of, the committee throwing a bone to the teams that normally wouldn't have any chance.
Right. And with Michigan State being 3, I think they should be 2. We'll get to that later. If Alabama, if they're not going to put Cincinnati up there, then Michigan State should be 2.
Yes.
Because of and they played a really good game against Michigan.
Yeah.
And Michigan is not a bad team. They haven't been able to win big games under Jim Harbaugh, but they have beaten some pretty good teams on the road until the loss. But I do like Michigan State at 3. Number 4, Oregon.
No.
See, this is where I wish they had the automatic bid system, where 12-team automatic bid. Because Oregon is definitely good. They beat Ohio State at the Horseshoe.
True.
They beat Ohio State at the Horseshoe, and that win is a really good win right now because of where Ohio State is.
Yeah.
And which is why it makes sense for the committee to put them ahead of Ohio State. I like Oregon as of right now, if they win out and win the Pac-12. You're telling me a one-loss Oregon as a Pac-12 champion wouldn't get in, even though they have the bad loss to Stanford?
See, my thought on loss should automatically knock you out.
I see. I don't like that way of seeing it because you're setting up for failure. So say Alabama was undefeated and they're going into the SEC championship game and there's 3 other undefeated teams and Georgia and Alabama are the 4 and the 5th undefeated teams left.
Yeah.
If Alabama loses that, then with your situation, they would be out, even though they lost to a top 4 Georgia team. See, that's kind of the thing where I don't like it. But in this situation, there is no way that Alabama should be ranked 2.
No,
in no way,
not.
shape, or form. Okay, so I actually finally found the actual just straight up rankings of it. So Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Michigan State 3, Oregon 4, Ohio State 5. Now I understand why they're behind Oregon because they played against each other earlier in the season and they lost. So I understand that. I kind of like that. I think that's an applicable ranking for Ohio State at 5.
Now the big one.
Now the big one. Cincinnati 6.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous because of who else is ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Especially Alabama. Like this whole conversation is Alabama versus Cincinnati at this point. Because
there's another team that, while they haven't been playing amazing, they're still undefeated.
I say you put them at there's definitely a lot of room for chaos. But I don't know. Cincinnati at 6 is just really bad because if they beat Notre Dame, who's what? I'm trying to find.
I don't know
they're
where
10.
they're
Notre Dame is 10.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about this.
Yeah, but
I just wanted to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Oklahoma at 8 and Wake Forest at 9. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma and Wake Forest have played and Oklahoma I would say has played worse against their competition.
Yeah.
Almost losing to Tulane. Having to come back from 21 against Texas. Like those types of things you can't and Oklahoma and I was going to say this, if Wake Forest had a paw as the Clemson paw as their logo, they're in the top 4.
Oh yeah. Well, but see, it's the thing. That's the thing about this ranking. And as compared to the AP and the coaches poll, they're not just the top. Even looking at the bottom, there are look, we're not corrupt. We're gonna do our corrupt system, and college football has never had a national champion, a legitimate national champion.
I somewhat agree with that.
It has forever been mythical.
One more thing before because we're about to start the second half.
Yeah, second half's about to start.
Auburn at 13 is bad. They haven't played anybody, and there are 2 losses.
But that of college football, and this is why college one has a chance and a way to get in.
Which in the top, which I was listening to Tiki and Tierney on the way here actually, and they were talking about how the contract that they signed for the original college football playoff was till 2025. So 2026 would be the first season that they can actually change it, which is a long. That's after I graduate.
That's a long way to go. Yeah,
and that's just not what you want to see as we're about to start the second half. And that was a really I like that.
Yeah,
I really did. And now I have to go back to reality and call this game.
Well, from one mess of a playoff system to a mess of a game,
a playoff game.
Yes. As the kickoff to start the second half is up and fielded at around the 30-yard line. They'll get taken down at around, they'll mark him down at the 31-yard line. Oh, no, they'll actually give him the 32-yard line. So that's where Chapin will start with the ball.
So you said the over-under was probably about 70. Could Chapin get to that on their own?
If they did, it would tie the record for the worst loss in Carolina Forest Panther history. Shotgun set, 2 running backs on to the right of Bradford, thrown out and caught, and still on his feet.
Oh
now he breaks to the far side, and he could go. No one in front of him, and taking it to the house is Bennett Galloway. A 70-yard touchdown, but I thought there might have been a flag on the play, but there is not. A 70-yard touchdown Well, 69-yard touchdown for Bennett Galloway, and the clock is stopping.
Why? Why? Man, like
I said, because I think we didn't talk about it on the air, but Darlington throughout this entire season has had similar situations where they, just because of pride, did not want to have the clock run, as the extra point is up and good, and that'll extend lead out to 50. 50-0, and a little over half a minute came off the clock. One play, 69-yard drive, and yeah.
I don't even know. And I've said this about 13 times because what else do you really say in this situation? But